So, folks, we got to talk about Iran again. And specifically, I'm going to run through several of the several of the events that led up to today.
Wait, are
All
you
right.
telling me I didn't have to go to riverboat.gg/subscribe in order to see my text pop up? Mind
Oh
blown.
no, no! Now, when we're talking about Iran, it is unfortunate that the ceasefire is so fragile because what is coming to light here as JD Vance tries to nail down these negotiations and seemingly has been sent out to fail by the Trump administration is that the things that are being reported by the American side and the things being reported by the Iranian side are very different. For example, from just a handful of days ago, discrepancies between US and Iranian statements on nuclear inspections. Basically, Vance said, we got them figured out. They're going to do inspections. And Iran said, no, we didn't have that figured out, and we might not do inspections in the final deal. That has not been negotiated yet. There is also currently an ongoing effort to have and finalize negotiations between Israel and Lebanon, right? That is a huge deal, especially when it comes to maintaining any kind of ceasefire that Iran has. We've talked about this a lot. Many of you will understand this already. This is also complicated by the fact that there are stranded sailors by the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, and the Strait of Hormuz is open. The reason I say ish there is because the International Maritime Organization has an evacuation plan in progress to try and get sailors that have been stranded out of the Strait of Hormuz. However, Israel is deliberately trying to sabotage negotiations, and you can see that in how this is talked about by Israeli leadership and representatives. The fifth round of U.S. brokered ceasefire talks between Lebanon is a train wreck, says Israel's ambassador to the U.S., Yachiel Leiter. This is the fifth round of talks, and I must say, we are in a train wreck, he said in a statement. I fear that the concept of deconfliction is misplaced. The only issue is Hezbollah. Hezbollah must be defeated and removed from the equation. Instead, there is a danger that Hezbollah has received a boost. It certainly feels stronger and bolder, he said. That's a big problem because Lebanon doesn't really have a mechanism to deconstruct or dismantle Hezbollah. It is the dominant political force in Lebanon. The issue here is that this is, of course, from a few days ago. The Pakistani prime minister, in the middle of all of the negotiations going on back and forth, warned that unnamed actors were engaged in efforts to derail the agreement and progress made by the US and Iran. There are spoilers all over the world who want to scuttle this peace deal, Shahbaz Sharif said, without mentioning specific countries or parties. So we have this situation where Israel is trying to scuttle this, and it is, in fact, getting worse, right? It is a worsening situation. And one of the points of disagreement has been, hey, can people traverse the Strait of Hormuz without paying fines or deal? Like, are there going to be tolls imposed? Like Marco Rubio's going out there saying, "Oh yeah, no, it's a free passage through the Strait of Hormuz." Iran has been adamant that their memorandum of understanding entitles them to actually do whatever they want, to control it how they want, to charge tolls if they want, etc. They want sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, jointly with Oman. Again, the points coming out of the negotiations between the US and Iran seem to be pretty starkly differing on a lot of these different points. And additionally, this was very funny to me the other day. Pezeshkian says no negotiations will take place regarding Iran's ballistic missiles, which had been used as a potential reason to justify for the U.S. to go to war against Iran in the first place by the Trump administration and by Donald Trump himself. And of course, even Fox News is kind of pointing out this is really horse shit. Trump says Iran's missiles aren't the problem after White House made them central to war rationale. The entire memorandum of understanding is going over terribly among Republicans in particular, who view it as a capitulation to Iran. On top of that, like, Trump just keeps doubling down on it, you know?
Yeah. You said in the press conference, you said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And everyone else has them. They should have them too. And on top of that, add the nuclear program onto this pile. After months of war, Trump says Iran has right to nuclear program. It's just common sense for Iran to have a nuclear program. It's a little hard that when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it. Other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense. Trump said at the G7 summit in France.
We've been pretty tough on that. You know, it is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense, please.
You have to use a little common sense. Of course they want nuclear. Why shouldn't they have nuclear? Everyone else around them has nuclear. And then, of course, you have the back and forth just within Donald Trump's own psyche here.
It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We're now totally independent of the Middle East, and yet we are there to help. We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need anything they have.
I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are.
Like, this side-by-side comparison is so good. It's just crazy. It's genuinely insane bullshit. And the fact that Republicans watch this and they're just like, yeah, no, all that makes sense. There's nothing contradictory about any of that. And we're totally energy independent, but also in 4 weeks, the reserves would be gone and you wouldn't be able to get oil anymore. And, there's no contradiction at all. Definitely doesn't mean that the president of the United States has been lying to us in order to justify going to war for no reason. But, interesting stuff. And on top of that, it really does drive home that Donald Trump might not be aware fully of everything that's going on around him anymore. Like, I don't know if this was all part of just an ongoing lie that he was aware of, or if he was just absolutely mentally fractured, And I want to play this clip. I've played it in another segment before, but I think it's worth dragging out again in this instance in particular to really drive home that the fact that the guy who is, doing the final sign-off on these negotiations is definitively, objectively degraded from where he used to be. And where he used to be was not impressive by any stretch of the imagination. But here you go.
So from the beginning to the end, it was clear that this week, America's back. It's bigger and better and stronger. We're more respected as a country right now, I think, than we ever have been. And we were a laughingstock 2 years ago. They would laugh at us.
Walker I said, make America great again. I said, make America great again. And I copyrighted the term. And then Walker was making a speech many months ago when he first started. And he was saying, make America great again, because he saw the response I got.
We had a man that should have never been there, you know that. A man that would walk up to a podium once every year, and they'd ask him, what flavor ice cream do you like? I like vanilla.
The difference is he didn't get any response, so it didn't help. But we told him you can't do that. That was the first little problem.
I'm sorry, you cannot watch the side-by-side and be like, yeah, no, he sounds just as good as he did in 2016. He sounds so much worse. He sounds like he's on his goddamn deathbed.
My head with him. He said you can't do it. Now I said a common sense conservative, and today I heard he used the term because the press was up and they interviewed me and they said he's a common sense conservative. Well,
then he'd try and find the stairs, which he couldn't find most of the time, and he'd leave. This is very unfair reporting. And then you said you didn't know about that. You didn't know there was something wrong.
I coined the phrase a few months ago, but that's what I am. I'm a conservative person. I'm very, very conservative on the military. I'm very conservative with our vets and on health care and on lots of things.
You didn't know there was something wrong. We can never let that happen to our country again. To me, so from the beginning to...
Yeah, it's just an incredible shift. But as I've pointed out in the past, all of this weakness that you are seeing from Donald Trump on the international stage, it has measurably impacted him domestically. Republicans are in rebellion. Republican senators are shutting down parts of his agenda because they have a bone to pick with how he has stabbed some of them in the back. There are calls for him to end this war, and Congress is trying to pass that in particular. But now we get to today, where Iran earlier today allegedly had some kind of drone encounter with the ship, the Ever Lovely, cargo ship out of Singapore, loaded up with goods from Iraq, has been stuck on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz, got the go-ahead to go through the Strait from the UK naval organization, and was following the coordinates when they were struck around 6 p.m. local time by something. And what that something was is unknown at this time, but damage was done to the bridge windows, but the crew is safe, the ship is safe. No, the company is the Evergreen Marine Company. The ship is the Ever Lovely. What this means and how this was interpreted, and by the way, this is a ship out of Singapore. It's not an American vessel. But apparently Donald Trump read this as, oh, this is a breach of the Memorandum of Understanding. Here he is taking questions.
President on Iran, Mr. President?
God, all of these are so quiet.
Wait, you said that Iran violated the ceasefire.
Yeah.
Will they face any consequences?
Well, you'll find out.
Do you consider the ceasefire to still be in place?
I don't like the fact that they took a shot yesterday, actually 4, we knocked down 3, at a ship. Not an Allied ship, but a ship, a very expensive ship. And it was fine, but it took a little beating. They shouldn't be doing that, so you'll find out.
Will the U.S.
You'll find out.
Will the U.S. respond? What is your message to
When
Iran?
I respond, you're going to find out.
Sir, when
God, he looks terrible. Looks like his eyes are about to pop out of his skull. But yes, then earlier today, the U.S. struck Iran in multiple locations across the country. And, yeah, U.S. Central Command said the military struck missile and drone locations and coastal radar sites in Iran. And after he said, you'll see, he abruptly ended that press conference and got all the reporters out of there. So this has, of course, put the peace and ceasefire very much at risk. And it is at this time unclear if the United States and Iran will continue to negotiate. However, in a sliver of good news, it appears that some kind of framework, diplomatic framework between Israel and Lebanon has been signed. But Here's what's in it. The Lebanese army will gradually assume full and effective security responsibility over so-called pilot zones in Lebanon. Israel and Lebanon have agreed to 2 initial pilot zones, which are not identified, but more may be added by mutual agreement. The Lebanese government will rebuild the state's monopoly on the use of force and achieve the complete and verified disarmament of all non-state armed groups, a reference to Lebanese group Hezbollah. The Israeli government says the termination of the threat posed by non-state armed groups such as Hezbollah will eliminate any future need for Israeli military action or presence in Lebanon. Israel also affirms it has no territorial ambitions in Lebanon, and the U.S. will rally international partners to help rebuild Lebanon. Israel and Lebanon will work to establish working groups to draft the full comprehensive peace and security agreement. Now, that all sounds fine. However, the idea here that Lebanon is going to be able to dismantle Hezbollah. In 2021, Hezbollah claimed to have around 100,000 trained soldiers loyal to Hezbollah. The question here is, what kind of overlap does this have with the Lebanese army? And the problem is, Lebanon's army is around 80,000 strong. So, assuming, by the way, that Hezbollah and Lebanon and the Lebanese official military do not overlap, Hezbollah still has a larger military force. Assuming they do overlap, that would be a colossal problem if a quarter of Lebanon's army was actually Hezbollah. This would be a huge problem. So the idea that Lebanon can just dismantle Hezbollah, it can't. There's no mechanism to do that short of full-blown civil war. The problem is, this kind of agreement would mean that Hezbollah would have to be on board with it. And as one might imagine, they are not on board with it at all. Al Jazeera with the photographs from Lebanon here. Hezbollah supporters throughout Lebanon having protests against this agreement in particular. And the problem here comes in the from the other side as well, which is that Israel does have territorial ambitions in Lebanon. The Greater Israel Project and its adherents, many of whom are influential within the Netanyahu government, relies on expansion of Israel into Lebanon, right? And I want to play for you guys this clip, right, from, this is Itamar Ben-Gvir, one of the top political figures in Israel. There will be tears, 1,000 Lebanese mothers will cry 100,000 tears, and not a single Israeli mother. There can be no situation in which we will be in Lebanon, in which we will be in Lebanon and we will be limited. I know that our soldiers are allowed to defend themselves, and I know that they can shoot here and shoot there, but I don't accept this restriction on the territories. I think that Netanyahu here in Iran has proven to him that Hezbollah continues to operate. That's right. There's innocence. It's American innocence. There is nothing to compromise with the Iranians on. There's a point to something. The Iranians have to be bombed, and then bombed, and then bombed. And that's how Hezbollah, we have to bomb them, just bomb them, and bomb. That's how it works. And whoever wants to condemn me should condemn me. Let them all say all kinds of things in the world. I truly believe it. I believe that it is how we stretch. We are the owners of the house. They think 10 times. Look at the convoy. They told me to get them and shoot. God, this is going fast. Get them to shoot here and shoot there, but I don't accept this restriction. On certain areas in the state of Lebanon, all of Lebanon should become our playground. All of Lebanon should be our goal. And I'll tell you a second, but there's Lebanon and there's Hezbollah. I accept this artificial approach. Lebanon is a country. There are Hezbollah members in the Lebanese government, ministers on behalf of Hezbollah. It is a revolving door policy. We saw that they arrested Hezbollah members more than once Release them after 2 minutes. I think we should first say thank you to President Trump. Be with us. Fight with us, our partner. Together we did huge. It was great privilege to be a survivor in this government, in this cabinet, in the small cabinet history. But after the big hug he deserves, he also has to know when to say no to him, Sir President. He didn't come to Shiva. He won't come to Shiva to console him. But with all the due love and respect for the state of Israel, he won't have to answer to the residents, the public. My son today in Lebanon is not President Trump's son. So I say there is a red line. I said and I saw that they made a world storm out of it and told me to retract it. And the world says so. The answer is we don't need to tell him no about not about pulling out of Lebanon and not about not hitting any place.
In case you needed another reason to hate this monster.
Oh, I saw the Noose birthday cake. The fucking Noose birthday cake he celebrated with is fucking disgusting. You see a solution where it's possible, where Prime Minister Netanyahu accepts Trump's demand and pulls our troops out of Lebanon. We need to remember that we hear the Iranians. Let's hope that the Prime Minister will be strong against Trump. He was strong against Obama, strong against other presidents, strong against Biden. He can be strong against Trump and tell him, Mr. President, no, that's what we need to say. This is with respect. Say it politely, not insult him. He is, after all, a partner, a true friend. But sometimes in history, we have to say no. Lebanon should be our playground. All of it, right? So the problem here is that Hezbollah rejects this agreement, and most of the most influential people in Israel also hate this agreement. And also a lot of the people who want this to de-escalate the conflict point out that it does not, in fact, withdraw Israel's troops out of Lebanon. Because what is instead happening are these pilot zones where Lebanon will be able to retake control. But those pilot zones are yet to be determined, and frankly, Israel is currently occupying the entirety of southern Lebanon. So this situation is very fragile, and it is wobbly as hell. This is a tightrope that skilled geopolitical folks would have difficulty walking. And instead, we have the dumbest rubes imaginable trying to do this balancing act. It's very bad. Like, I do not think that this is going to be a vehicle, either the ceasefire between the United States and Iran, or this ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. I don't believe either of them are going to hold, because the Trump administration is full of no one but the most incompetent, most corrupt people imaginable. So that's where we're at, and I wish I had more optimism about all of this. I wish I could say, here's the silver lining. It's getting better. And unfortunately, I have to say, the silver lining seems to be a mirage. I wish I had a better solution, a more immediate solution than organize. We have to make sure that whoever gets into power next is sane and is willing and able to have these tough negotiations and get us out of meaningless, purposeless conflict. All of that to say, join your local Dems, join your local DSA. All right, folks? Get organized, because the fascists are getting organized. And that's why we're in the situation we're at now. So get organized, folks. Push for pro-working class policy, push for effective policy, push for more humane policy, and don't stop until you get it. When we do that on the local level, we can topple mountains. We can move any and everything. So get organized, folks. If you need help, don't know where to start, reach out on our Discord to Gamergy. Gamergy can help you get involved with your local DSA. You reach out to Dragonfly. Dragonfly can help you get involved with your local Dems. And we also have links down below for Progressive Victory, where you can volunteer for progressive and leftist candidates across the country to do door knocking, phone banking, text banking, etc. There's a lot of good opportunities out there. I hope you guys take advantage of them. Go check that out. Links down below to our Discord and to Progressive Victory as well. And also, folks, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you think the pathway out of this is. And also, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks as well. Check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. It's comfortable, sexy lingerie that's non-tucking. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.